Whoa, that is a lot of speckles. That's crazy. Alright, well, notice that. I don't know if we're going to be dealing with that or not. That's bad. That's this side. Alright. Let's see. Anybody jumping on right now? Hope everyone's doing well. Long time no see. Well, I guess see me. How annoying are those? This is sunlight peeking through the blinds in front of me. I'm probably going to put towels back up there because that's starting to annoy me. So just let me know if that's too distracting, because it's shining through on the green screen behind me. So, but once we get above here, once we get above there, there's the edge of my frame. Ooh, could I bring in the... Let me try something. If I close me in some... Is it Alt? There, it is very, very narrow. But we at least have, I think, most of them gone. So if I go out of frame, I apologize. Move this over there. I'll try to stay in frame. Very, very narrow. So now here, this is how close I've got this shrunk. But I at least got rid of all those marks around me. So, all right. I don't think that'll drive me nuts. Hope that's not going to drive everybody. Can I ask some random, likely in general Python development? Sure, absolutely. What would you like to? Yeah, hang on. Sorry, I'm looking at there's a weird graph. All right. Absolutely. What are some of your questions you'd like? Because I just kind of I have no plans for today. I just needed to come and jump back on and start getting back into, because I've been in a funk doing getting a lot of rejection emails. So was trying to get some stuff done and haven't really been feeling it. So have no plans for the day. So if there's anything everybody wants to talk about, just come and give me a shout, and I will try to answer them as best I can. Because I kind of had a breakthrough as driving around. Had to drive out of town, where I live. Everybody thinks that was probably, to give you an idea, I drove 50 minutes out of town, and you can drive, where I live, you can get a long way in 50 minutes, but in a normal town, 50 minutes is just kind of around the block. I remember where I grew up, especially if you're going to go to the beach, it might take 50 minutes to get to the beach, and you're only 6 miles from the beach, and it takes you an hour. So, all right. I think I'm in frame. All right. Should I learn Django? I mean, will it be helpful for me? All right. So this question gets asked a lot. So let me make sure I read it all. Should I learn Django? Will it be helpful for me? I will only make small projects with it, not large scale applications. Or should I stick to Flask? So these are the type of questions that So I want to answer this delicately. Tools are not important. It would be the equivalent of, should I learn how to use a bandsaw or should I learn how to use a skill saw? And what the real challenge that you're having, and you're unaware of it because there's a lot of misconception out there in the world of things that are new, things that are hype, things that are the most up to date, and that's human nature. There's a term called keeping up with the Joneses, being the most relevant. And the higher level you get, and especially in problem solving and just real world problems, those type people go the reverse. They start getting into the basics of, how to attack a problem. What's the real problem? The real challenges you're going to get to have is when you're a developer talking to a business partner who's trying to get the idea out of their head. To get that match. So the quick answer is it doesn't matter. Because if you can do one, you can just, it's just a tool. But how to implement the tool, debugging, those are real skills. Those are transferable skills. You want to become so good at problem solving and building projects and let those stand alone and stand for themselves. The tools aren't irrelevant, but it doesn't matter. To give you an idea, I was so terrified that when I learned Python, I wasn't going to be able to do anything else. And I'd heard all these other people talking that they had learned all these other languages. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to learn any other language. Hang on. I was like, oh my God, there's no way I'm going to be able to learn more than Python, because it took me forever. And I wasn't learning Python. It didn't take me forever to learn Python. It took me forever to learn basic programming skills. So when I was asked to learn SQL, I was like, well, wait a minute. Okay, so how to attack a problem, how to prioritize, how to order of operations. So each tool is going to have its own different order of operations, and you need to understand how that works and how that looks. Oops, I got one right there. How that looks and how that works, and then you use it in that environment, in that cadence, in that tool set. So then after I learned SQL, I was asked to learn Visual Basic. And I was like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to learn Visual Basic. But I was. Oh, actually, I haven't told anybody on Discord that I am live. Okay. All right, there we go. All right, so because basic programming skills are transferable. They're transferable from package to package. They're transferable. Because I want you to think about it. Let's stick within the Python world. You you learn a new module, right? Or you learn a new, like we were talking about Django or Flask. I mean, they're still Python based. So, you're still going to have for loops. You're still going to have objects. You're still going to have methods. So you just go from there. All right. What other questions do we have? Because that was a pretty good one, but it gets asked a lot. And let me see if I can shrink that again. I don't know, because I'm pretty... That's pretty tight right now. Oh, that was shrinking. I want to close this in. There we go. Not shrink, close. Now that is super, that is just literally right around me. All right. Whoop, that just cut off a little bit. And let's go back. Maybe I can sit still today. All right. Because I was on the fence about making some other content. Hey Nico, how are you doing? Well, do you have, if it interests you, that's the thing. Build stuff that interests you. And I guess it'd be the kind of same concept. Is there a problem that you're trying to solve with it? Because if you're making stuff to make stuff, to challenge yourself, that's cool. But I guess don't just get in the habit of building something, because if you're trying to showcase your skills, I guess maybe. But I think we've talked about this before, but if you're trying to have people see your skills, you're going to hear the term use case. What's the use case? Why do I need this? So why do I need this tool? And if you're trying to solve a problem, you're going to get all sorts of attention, and people are going to want to use that tool. So if you're going to spend time building something, if you're going to be like, hey, I don't think this is out there, or if you're doing it to learn the skill, if there is, building something needs to have two things. If it has some unique problem that you're trying to solve for either yourself or someone else, or it's like, hey, I've never done this, and I have some curiosity, because I love solving. We've sat on here for tens and tens and tens of hours, probably close to hundreds now, of just solving puzzles and solving problems, because I love doing that. It gets me to think differently. It gets me to reinforce the problems that I have. It keeps me fresh, because you're going to have a problem. If you get asked to build something, the goofiest, the smallest, the littlest thing is going to get you hung up. It's going to be like, okay, why? I'll tell you this one of the last things that hung me up before I left Walmart was we were crashing a form, because if this happened and this happened and this happened, if it was a smaller supplier and they didn't have any charges, well, in SQL, it doesn't return zeros if something is non-existent. It just isn't there. So if something isn't there, there's nothing to report back. So that I had to come up, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have pre-work and post-work to make things happen. And that's what was so eye-opening to me about real-world developing, is that all the extra work that goes into it, the requirement gathering, the road mapping, things like that. But back to what this zero problem was. So what I had to do is I had to inject into all of these outputs basically a starting point of 0. So then add anything to it. And so what I did is I added rows. So for every vendor and every department that was queried, what I did is I put a base line in of zeros for each defect and each blah, 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 each of these. So then when I would sum or, I would sum. So any charges that were there, I would, so if it had other charges, you add 0 to the other charges, you get the other charges. But if there are no other charges, so what I did is I merged SQL and pandas together. So I took a pandas data frame and I basically created a data frame that took the vendors or the supplier, and I set those all to 0. And let's see, I have more. Undo. Alt, shrink just a little bit more. Wow, I can't move it all now. Wish I could show you guys how small my little square is. But it's basically right at the top of my head now and right at the side. But we have none of those little marks anymore. So, all right. So that's what was so interesting to me about learning about development. And I think now, back on that, I don't know how close to, if that's what Walmart made to get it to really happen, or if it was, if that's kind of standard in industry. So I've always kind of wondered that. Because we had our little team that built stuff, and then there was the main product team that we would interact with, and we would kind of design. So one of the project managers I worked with, he helped me understand. I'm like, why are we doing it? And he goes, and I started asking these questions, and he goes, that's funny. Those are the exact same questions I was asking too. I was like, all right, so how do you describe what we do? He goes, well, we have to design a working model. So we're kind of like architects. And I'm like, all right. And he goes, and we're QA at the same time, because if we don't sign off on the working product that product creates, then it doesn't go anywhere. So we would do architecture and validation. So we would be along in every single step, because we would check every single possibility and then constantly be trying to think of edge cases. Oh, there's a new one. There's a new little spot, but it's not. It's right on the side of my head. All right. So any questions right now of anything that you've heard me discuss? I don't know if Nico's still here. But all right, I've been kind of trying to, had some ideas earlier. I always seem to have more ideas while I'm driving or going to bed. My brain I should have started making notes last night when I was going to bed. Oh, Sunlight came right through. All right. I don't know if everybody saw on LinkedIn, but I was shocked how many people on LinkedIn were talking about the New York shooting of the insurance CEO. And I was really surprised that people posted who they thought was the suspect, and people posting the suspect's image on their own LinkedIn. I was a little shocked by that people were, because you can, I mean, if something comes back and it's all wrong and you're publishing these things, you could be held liable. Or is it slander? No. Words are slander. Print is liable. All right. Let's see. Okay, sorry. Got a kid texting me. He's got an idea he wants to run by. I don't know if I can help him with the software side. He's the hardware. He's a hardware guy. He's actually built this machine that I'm on now and like 4 others. So, yeah, I think the machine that I have now has 32 or 40 gigs of RAM. Processor is crazy fast. And then now that I have the hard drive was the last little bottleneck, and that's not an issue anymore. Let me see if I can sit right there. All right. What other questions we want to talk about today? What's something you've wanted to ask me and you haven't asked me before? Not anything crazy personal. That could be identification, but I'll pretty much answer anything. Let's see. Sorry. I had some interesting ideas about my resume, so haven't gotten anywhere with interviews. Still just a ton of rejections. Let's see, what else? What else? Let's see, anybody on Discord got anything? Okay, no. Alright, maybe we can work on a puzzle. Don't need that. And I've got to go get some presents today. Being close to the holidays. And let's see. Do I still have any leak code open? I think I do. There we are. Alright, let's go back to back to 75. Leak code 75 and see what we got going on today. Okay. I already asked about this, but can you teach us C types? I guess, Nico, have you tried to look at C types? What do you want to learn about C types? I mean, some general concepts. Because I don't think I've played around with any C types. of frame. No, I'm still good. Foreign is a foreign function library for Python. It provides C compatible data types and allows calling functions in DLLs or shared libraries. It can be used to wrap these libraries in pure Python. I guess this is a perfect use case. You show me a use case of what we need to do, and I'll go do it. So, right, but show me a use case. So this is kind of like the theme of what I'm trying to drive home, and there are a couple of us on the internet. It's like, okay, why? What? It's like the old famous question: should I learn Python? Is Python becoming a dead language? I mean, what is that? I mean, this is one of these things about what problem is that solving? Because when you're constantly just learning to solve problems, you're getting better at solving problems. So my pushback to you would be, Nico, what's a use case that we need to use a C type for? So, and if there is one, then I'd be more than happy to jump into it. But if we're just going to go and be doing that, I'm not a big fan of doing something like that for the sake of doing it. All right, so let's look at this one. There we go. Let me put this in. I love that they parse all that out. And I guess also, Nico, I don't want to take away from your learning. I encourage you to try to go and read up, because I don't even know, is it even a built-in library? What is it, just C types? Sorry, I mean, all right, so it's C type, CT, dir on CT. I mean, I wouldn't even know where to begin to start of what I would need to use this for. So I don't even know what the basics are. So I don't mess around with C at all. I have no experience with C. So I wouldn't even be like, hey, when this happens, make sure you do this. So be careful. I mean, if you want to, because you can turn into a circular thing where you're just, here's a perfect example of what I've been trying to say. Vinky, how are you? Good day to you. So it's like the education system, and I've seen this where people, and there's actually been news articles about this, where people are like, oh, okay, I've gone to get my bachelor's degree. Okay, now I need my master's degree. Okay, now I need my PhD. And now they're in their late 20s, early 30s. They have all this schooling, and they've become a professional learner. And you want to be very careful of that, because you want to become a professional doer. And there is a razor line. I'm an expert learner. I know how I learn. I'm very good at helping me learn something new. So be very careful of professional learner and expert learner. That is the closest line, closest razor's edge that I have ever seen in my life. So you can be constantly improving yourself in a means to an end, but just sitting around and going, because I've seen numerous people like this. They're like, knowledge is power. And they're like, I just learned this. And I go, okay, why? So learning it for the sake of learning it, it's like, then you go see a construction worker and it's like, hey, I went and got this new tool. Watch how much time it saves me doing this, this, and this, or this invention that I did, and I can do this, this, and this. That is an expert learner and a genius problem solver. So you want to go and get a tool that's going to make you better, not I'm better because I know this tool. That is a very dangerous, and that's kind of been the theme of this whole chat of early on. Should I learn Django or Flask? Doesn't matter. So it's the latest and greatest web platform design. So that's what you want to think about. Do I know what so how about we go down a layer? User experience, user interface. People like the screens to look this way, so I need to do this. There's a new dot. Okay. 2 new dots. I don't know if I can get rid of both of those. There we go. Let me sit right there. All right. So understanding and looking and see what trends are on websites and seeing how people interact with them, that is a better skill to have. Be doing A/B testing on which format. Spend time psychologically evaluating when does a person get tired of clicks? How many clicks do people say? See, these are the questions that I'm never asked. But then the flip side of this is you have to ask bad questions first. Then the caveat to that is you have to ask a bad question, but then learn something from it and ask a better question. So that's the only problem that I do not see. I get asked the same questions. And then I also am realizing that people are not learning from the bad questions, because the bad questions should be starting to go away now, but they're not. They're constantly, and when I was in the boot camp, I was seeing they were even asking Zach Wilson, the leader of the boot camp, and these were people who were, I assumed, pretty far along in a profession, and it was like, oh, should I learn this or this? And his answer was, well, both. What tools are they? Because I mean, the two platforms that were being asked is should I learn, but it was about orchestration. So it was basically how to set up a flow, how to time it, how to interact with it, because something else is going to come along. So spending all your time. So let's go back to the Django and Flask question. So the likelihood of a new module coming along in the near future is high. And it may solve other problems that they have, some integration, some better functionality. Who knows? So you'll need to go and learn that one. So what? Because you will know UX and UI, so it doesn't matter. You're going to know what a person is going to want to see on their screen. So it doesn't matter the type of tool that you use to accomplish that. You already know what a human being wants to see, that's your end goal. That's your end user, is a human being. So yes, a human being wrote the module, wrote the library, blah, 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 blah. But do I have Do I have the skills? Do I have the understanding? Do I have, do I understand what I need to be doing? And I can't say this enough. Requirement gathering from another human being to build to build what they see in their head. That is, I can't emphasize that enough. That is a skill set in and of its own. And I think as an industry, we're probably going to pay for that because there's cutting back on project managers. Now, granted, project managers were probably not doing themselves any good by sitting around the pool during COVID and saying, oh, yes, I'm a project manager. I manage this and this and this. Now, did that hurt that group, that core group? Yes. But we would have typically 2 project managers on every project, one on the product side and one on our architecture side. And every single one of those hours was needed because of just staying on task. Yeah, I can't say that enough. Stay on task in the meeting, stay on task on topics, stay on task on the problem, stay on task of the user interface. Everything about driving, because the more people you got in the room, the more opinions you had, and drift. Just meeting drift and trying to drag everybody back on on topic. Nope, these are the only 2 topics we are going to discuss today. You would be shocked because business leaders are like, but I want to talk about it. Yeah, I know. But if we leave this subject right now, while we don't have an answer for it, we may never get this solved. And I've seen products just twist in the wind because we just could not get alignment. We could not. Oh my God, definitions. Holy my God. We had a joke on our team. What is your definition of 95%? And you're like, what? When you start delving into millions of anything, it's like, well, what do you mean? It's 95. Okay. And then you start showing examples of this, and they're like, oh. Yeah. So that's when I learned that. I would not ask what their definition was. I would give them 2 choices. Two. And if you've never read the book Switch, I highly recommend you reading the book Switch. Hang on. And even highly trained professionals, like even doctors, when you got more than 2 choices, okay, everybody starts to struggle when they get 3 or more choices. The good decisions go out the window. And what's really sad and scary, you would not think that it affects doctors, but it does. Life expectancies of when doctors have 3 or more choices plummet, absolutely plummet. When they have 2, or if they have two choices, life expectancy is much higher. And that's why I stole that. And what I would do is I wouldn't ask them for their definition. I would ask them how they would make a decision. I would show them, and I would give them 2 choices. And I said, all right, so if this happens, would you want this calculated like this or like this? And I would give them the 2 outputs so they could see it. And I would send that in an email before the meeting. When I'd schedule the meeting, I would have that as an attachment in the meeting. file and let them think on it. And then when we talked about it, I would walk them through what I did, why I was doing it that way, how I did the math behind it, blah, 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 blah. And then I would get them to decide. But if you allow this will set you up for success. If you allow them to, one, they will more than likely confuse themselves while they're talking about it because they're business experts. They are not data experts. They are not algorithm experts. They will confuse themselves while they're talking. And it's not, that's not their expertise. That's what you're there to be, their guide in helping them decide what the output is. And you need to understand the information better than they. And I know that sounds weird, but that's what you're there for. They are making decisions for the business, and you are to assist them in that. Not make it for them. Let them know what your options are, what you can assist them with, what you can build for them, and you go from there. So, all right. We got a couple more folks drop in. Thanks everyone for coming to hang out today. What question, after hearing me say all that, what questions do you have? Because I know that's a lot. And I think that's what turns people off about this. Sorry. Where were we going? Oh, I think, yeah, because people are like, oh, I want to go into software engineering and I'm not going to have to deal with people. I actually argue that you have to be better with people than anybody because you're dealing with the psychology of how a person is going to react when they see something, how a person's going to react how a person's going to feel when they click on something. Well, it's like, and I know that sounds really weird, but a person is having an interaction with a device. They're still having action. When we do actions, we expect something. So if it doesn't react the way that well, even if it reacts the same way we're so, all right. So a project manager is a lot like a psychologist, and you have to take those things into account. And then as a developer, you have to understand that because somebody's going to become, and especially when they're trying to, so here's the weird thing. If you ever noticed, somebody gets upset when they're trying to explain something. And I want you to really think about this for a second. And this took me a long time. They're upset because they can't articulate it and they're not being understood, or they feel like they're not being understood. So that's upsetting to them. So what you have to do is you have to go, okay, I'm sorry. I don't understand. Can you explain that a different way? So what I do to circumvent that is I literally say that exact same thing. And I don't say what, that doesn't make any sense, because you're putting that back on them. It's like, you explained that poorly. That's stupid. What do you mean? So, hey, I'm sorry. Can you say that a different way? I don't understand that. And they're like, oh, okay. And then it gives them pause, and then they go back. So there's so many layers to building something, because I want you to, again, think about this. You're pulling something out of somebody's mind and their vision. And I think this is probably as close to probably movie making, television making, all of these things where Somebody has this idea in their head and they're trying to get it out. And they're like, I want it to look like this, and I want it to do this. And storyboarding. That's why storyboarding is so important. And I just saw the other day, even back in the 60s, they were doing storyboarding, especially like cartoon things like to have everybody to kind of know, because I loved Mary Poppins growing up. I loved that movie, the original. Of course, I did not watch the original. I'm not that old, but I watched it shortly thereafter. But nobody could really understand. Same thing with Star Wars. They didn't get it until they saw a storyboard, a visual representation of what everything was going to look like. And then everybody was like, oh, okay. So drawing these screens and be like, hey, I want this to do this, and I want it to feel this way, and I want it to scroll through, and I want it, when I click this, I want this to happen. There was a scene in the movie, I think it was Jobs or whatever it was, and he understood the connection he was making. He wasn't building software, he was building a product. So I know that sounds, you're like, that's the same. So he was building a product, he was building an experience, he was building a connection. And I did a little bit of research, and apparently this scene was pretty accurate. There was a programmer, and he's like, hey, so what happens when I click this button right here? Oh, we haven't built that, because so what Steve was trying to impress upon them was that, and I have another story about Melinda Gates and Microsoft. So a programmer they don't really test their product very well. So that's why you have to have a QA department, because they will not push the limit of their product. So back to the Steve Jobs story. So what he did is he made he's like, what happens when I press this font button up here? And they're like, well, we haven't done that yet. He goes, well, I told you to do it. And the programmer, they went back and forth, and the programmer goes, I just don't think it's important. And he goes, you're fired. And everybody's like, he's the best programmer there is. He goes, it doesn't matter. If he doesn't understand that the user is going to care about this, and this is why the user is going to be using it. This is what the user cares about. We need to care everything about what the user cares about. And that's true. It's their UX, their user experience. So now let me jump over to the Melinda Gates, and this was also in Switch. So the programmers are like, we built this thing and it's awesome. Well, they built it for programmers. And I think it was done in the one show, Silicon Valley. And so computer programmers, they're like, oh, this is awesome. You give it to a regular user, they're like, I don't get it. This is so bad. And that hurdle for a programmer to get over and to work with and build something that a non-programmer would appreciate and have a connection with and care about. So Melinda Gates, she was basically, they didn't know it was user experience and things like that yet, but she was like the 10th or 12th hire. She was early on. And she actually built a lab. So the programmers were like, are they stupid? Can they not use it? So they built a lab, basically a focus group, and she brought on users, regular real life users of their product, and put them in front of a computer screen, and the programmers were behind a one-way mirror and a one-way window, and watch them struggle and be like, See, we're not just being mean. We're not just telling you all these things. People are having a hard time with this. Your product is not solving their problems. So kind of the theme of let's just not build something to build it, or it's cool, or it's neat, or it works. Are you going to be building something? Are you going to be building up your skill set in your toolbox of how to build something that people want, will use, or makes their life easier? Because think about the Ring camera. Oh my God, that just changed the world, right? And made everybody's life easier, and nobody had to do anything different. They were already on their phone. And then they'd get this thing and they could talk to it. And they could get, they could see that people were, how often people were coming to the house. They could see stuff being delivered. They could be like, hey, can you go and do this, blah, 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 and things like that. So the user experience is so important. The interaction with the people that you're building, the better you are at drilling down to a problem. So those are the questions that I never get asked. And those are the ones that are so vital. I would even argue that maybe in the hiring process, everybody wants to know if you can code. I mean, I argue that if you can halfway decently code, anybody can learn better practices. Hey, don't use a for loop there. Don't use a second for loop. You use a stack. Oh, cool. How? Why? But hey, can you interact with this team? Tell me a problem where you solved an interaction with a team member. Man, if you can do that, I'd want you on my team all day long. So, all right. Can't tell if the lighting is getting better or worse, but now I got these dots. I don't think these dots down my face look that bad. I'm trying to stay out of it. Ooh, move over there. Let's see. And it's getting cold where I am. Let me see if I can Alt, move this over, get that out of my face a little bit. Alt, move that over a little bit more. Yeah, that's not bad. I can sit here. Yeah, there we go. Lock that back in. Nope, lock it back in. There we are. There. All right. Okay. So that was my little bit of a rant right there. So what questions, after hearing all of that, what questions did that spur, if any? And I will try to answer them. We can hang out for a little bit longer. So I guess I can let everybody know. Oh, my watch is telling me I'm being lazy and sitting still too long. I just kind of been in a funk recently. Was working on the boot camp stuff, getting a lot of rejection emails, and yeah, everybody goes into a funk, and it's fine. You just can't stay there. That's so funny. Introverts work alone. Yeah, we do. So I would also say that's why working remote for me is really easy, me being an introvert, and me then being able to interact with people when on the screen, and then I have tons of other interaction. Well, I just got a bunch of crazies I live with. And then I have interactions out in the real world. But for me, being on a screen with people around the globe is not a big deal to me. And being an introvert, because I used to be embarrassed by that. and then once I get comfortable around you, I'm not an introvert, but I'm see, I have some extrovert characteristics that come out once I get comfortable around you. But before that, I'm extremely shy and introverted. But so I was going through a little funk. I can't remember the last. It might be 2 weeks since I was live last. Let me go back and look. Almost 2 weeks since my last video I published. So let's see when the last live was. Last live was, oh wow, over 2 weeks. It was November 27th. So that is a long time ago. So all right, let me close that. All right. Any questions of anything? Anybody want to know anything about me? That ambivert. Okay, I like that. Yeah, I do fall under. And then I also think ADHD people make better programmers, and we're able to become hyper focused on something, and which is good and bad. Especially if we can't solve it and we're asked to move on. That's probably the most challenging problem that I have, and I had other teammates who were like that, is that it's like, hey, and I would ask around, I'd be like, hey, all right, so this was working, now it's not working, and I solved it. Can you move on not knowing why it broke? And everybody was like, no, I gotta figure out why. And I was like, okay, I thought it was just me. And they're like, nope. Everybody was like, we're all neurotic, and we all want to know why something wasn't working. But yeah, I don't know. I just I guess I was just drawn to the whole problem solving, and I mean, I love little puzzles. And these coding challenges. And then when I got, which I mean, I didn't even know I was a business data partner. I mean, this whole experience of the things that I've been exposed to over the past 3 years has just been absolutely crazy. Let's see. Getting a lot of updates. I need to. And my daughter was making fun of me the other day. Well, my daughter makes fun of me every day. Yeah, yesterday she told me I was high maintenance and a control freak, and I about died laughing. So I don't know who out there has a daughter, but they are just built different. And I was like, yes, out of everybody in this house, I'm high maintenance and a control freak. So, but those are the joys. Those are the joys of parenting. So let's see. What else do I want to talk about today? So I guess we were talking about being a good business partner. I guess growing up and watching my family, my parents run a business, and understanding the importance of taking care of the customer, taking care of the guys in the shop, not wasting any material, not overspending on things that we didn't need that weren't going to contribute to the project, the job. No excess waste, and efficiency. Yeah, I guess just efficiency. So when I get asked these things like this, it's like, what's the most efficient way we can do this? And it's just like, oh yeah, okay. But first, God, just get it to work. I love this image. Okay. Because I think this is one, I want to do this as a video. Broken sink programming meme. Broken sink. Yeah. This is my absolute all-time. This is my all-time favorite meme for programming. Right here. If it works, don't touch it. If it works, don't touch it. Like that is my absolute. And I've learned so much, so much from this. Is it pretty? No. Does it work? Yep. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Can't say enough. And I don't know. That speaks volumes to me. Excuse me. What's up, Nico? What does that mean? Does that mean if it works, don't touch it? So I want you to think about it. It has all the key features. Water runs. No water gets on the floor. You can stop up the drain. You can build a reservoir. And that's it. It drains. Water flows, and it works. And again, does it pretty? No. But is the functionality on the back end, will it probably work and the end user won't know about it? Probably. So leave it alone. So, but yeah. All right. What else do we want to talk about today? Because I don't know. I said we were going to do a challenge. Well, let's see. Is subsequence. I pulled up one of them. This feels smaller, but all right. I've got put it in. Says a subsequence of a string is a new string that is formed from the original string by deleting some (parentheses can be none) of the characters without disturbing the relative positions of the remaining characters. I.e., ace is subsequence of. Oh, well, AEC is not. Got it. All right. Let's comment this out. Copy. Paste. 1, 2, 3. Page down. 1, 2, 3. All right, let me go back to chat. Is there anything before we start messing around with this? I don't know. Not really feeling, because like today, like I said, I wanted to just kind of come back. Still not all the way out of my funk, but is what it is. You can't get greedy. And you can only control showing up. I can't say that enough. So I can't control how I feel right now. But I also knew that if I didn't stream today, I was going to get worse. And I was going to feel bad. And I was going to feel guilty. So I didn't want to make myself feel guilty. All right. What if you want to feed it more water? It will overflow and make water go all over the floor. Well, I see what you're saying about that, but typically a sink. Long time no see. Hey, Peaky, how are you doing? I know, Nico. If we delve into it, and if we get everything, but if we look at the bare functionality of it, it worked, and that's kind of the premise of the whole talk here. You found flaws in it where it was working a majority of the time, right? So how much water do you really need in the basin? So it's all about perspective. So if you can, I mean, we could then go, all right, so if we had a fully functioning sink, we were like, well, the sink isn't big enough. Well, then go to use the bathtub. I mean, things like this. All of these things, perspective. That's the whole point of everything. You can find something wrong with everything. So, can you find something right in something? Because I know I come from a family that's typically what we did is that's crazy. No, I didn't know that. I wouldn't be surprised either. But instinctively, we would always go, oh, well, if we did that, well, here's a problem. Instead of finding things that work with something and being pleased with it, instead of constantly going around and trying to find reasons why something won't work. So, and if you think about that, whatever you practice is whatever you're going to be good. You can find something wrong with everything. Yep, that's 100% true. So if you get practiced and really good, and that's all you do is just walk around, and you're like, and I become an expert at finding. That's all you're gonna see. That's all you're gonna see. So that's why I push back on that. It's so dangerous, and it's taken me decades to unlearn that. And am I 100% good with unlearning it? No, I regress into that. But don't get that habit. Don't get that skill set. There's something wrong with everything, but can you see the right in something? Hey, what is being done right over there? How is that? How will that work for me? How can I make that work for me? Whew. You want to talk about, because that's easy to do. I mean, it's easy to walk by. Hey, that's not going to work because of this, this, and this, and you walk by. You're just crapping on other folks' things that they spent so much time. It's like, okay, what should we do different? That's a little bit harder, isn't it? So, can you find, like, hey, that really solves this, this, and this. Do you think we can make that better by doing this, this, and this? You want to contribute? You want to get the skills of adding value? I think I did a whole video on being valuable. Get practiced at that. You want to be a human being that everybody wants to be around. Get really good at inspiring people and adding value. Man, everybody want to be around you. Everybody want to hang. They're like, hey, let's go talk to Johnny over there. Johnny's always got a good idea. So make sure you're on the right bus. Make sure the people around you are on the same type bus. And it's really easy to find something wrong with everything. So, all right, that's simple. I can walk around and find something wrong with everything. But can you walk around and find something that's right with everything? That's hard to do. That's actually work. That's actually work, or make things better. Whew. You wanna have consequence. You wanna be important. You wanna have significance. Do that. Do that. Solve problems. Solve problems. Don't make problems. Solve problems. Don't be a problem. Destroy problems. I still remember. It was probably 8 years ago now. And how long ago? 16. It was 7-8 years ago. It was kind of when I knew that I had turned this corner after I got promoted, and I got sent over to this area that was struggling. And I got over there in the morning. They had been there all night. All day, all night, and I had just gotten there in the morning. And everything was destroyed. And pallets were just everywhere. The whole dock was just full of stuff. Every single door was open. Pallets are supposed to be on the trailers. They're not, because it's just stuff is everywhere. Now, I could have easily gone over there, and every other person had gone over there and just complained. I want you to think about this. Does complaining move a pallet on a truck? Nope. So we stopped everything. I stopped everything. And I had everybody who could go get a piece of equipment and drive and move stuff around. And we just started. So I just changed the habits. So people were walking around and looking for single individual pallets for single specific things. And the reason why I stopped that is because that's what they had been doing. So I said, no. Everybody is going to load every single trailer. If you find a pallet, you put it on a truck. So by a process of elimination, we will be eliminating the pallets available to sift through as they're going through. So I began to solve the problem. What is the problem? We can't find pallets to load because there are other pallets in the way. So if I would have gone over there and just begun to complain, how did you do this? Why is this like this? This is ridiculous. Solves nothing. The problem is there are too many pallets on the dock. So start putting pallets on trucks. So that's the way that what is the true problem? Hang on, it feels like if you know how to do this, that without excuses, you don't need a degree for a job. And it feels like true. I don't know. I started watching Breaking Bad, so like I don't know why you look like Mr. White. I mean, oh, that's awesome. I have not heard that. I've got to tell my wife. Here, let me take a screenshot of that. So you think I look like Walter White? Because somebody wrote on a post or commented on one of my videos on Free Code Camp that I look like Ricky Gervais. So now I look like Walter White. Okay, let me tell. Someone just said I look like Walter White. It is Walter White. I've not ever seen Breaking Bad. I know of it. I just never got into it. But I like the whole premise of I like how the story came about. I like Bryan Cranston. Okay. Me neither, but I think it's something. Yeah. Well, it's more than that. It's somebody who has been. It's way more than that because people identify with him and they kind of overlook the drug dealer part. It's somebody who has been overlooked in society. And my wife just sent let me see if I can. She just sent the meme, I am the danger. Don't go so deep. Okay. But, yeah, it's just, I realized a long time ago I love complex. I love complex characters, so I'd probably like it. But I don't know. So all right, What other? Hang on. Yeah, he was good at chemistry. Well, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who might want to watch it, but yeah, he was. Society overlooked him, and he had to do something. He made choices, and his choices had consequences and things like that. My kids always walk around and say Jesse. So, but all right. Any other? But yeah, Bryan Cranston. He was also on. He was the dad in Malcolm in the Middle, I think, and that was an interesting show as well. And they wanted him to do it. He's like, I'm not doing that anymore. All right. So let's just go through here. We get S and we get T, and we want to know if basically if we iterate through and we check all, so let's get this in here. Let's start here. And inmate. So what should I call you from now? Sam's fine. Thank you, Peaky. I appreciate it. Sam is fine. All right. Now that's interesting. Yeah. I've never seen talking about the method. That attribute. Well, now I want to see. Yeah. I was like, did they make a special? No. Did they make a special? Special object? And length is the attribute? Huh. I wonder. Just like we're making stacks out of lists. Yeah, because if you've not ever heard that, but I mean, a stack is basically a list that we operate differently. All right. Okay, so I was like, I've never seen this. So, all right. So if we go through, we'll go A. So we're going to get these out of order. So I can tell you right now, if we go through and we see this fails because X isn't in here. Hang on. Very texty, busy today. Sorry, everyone. So I can already see the two flaws here. And this is a perfect example of what programming is. It has nothing. It's just standard logic. And I know that sounds weird. You're like, oh, yeah, standard logic. Of course, that's what programming is. Well, watch. So I'm going to come up with one. It's going to be a false positive. So I'm going to pass this, but if we change this again, so all right, never mind. So my brain first goes, okay, so I want to go A, B, C, C. This is completely wrong. I want to show you I want to get out all the wrong ideas. So INS, If I, whoa, there we go. If I in T continue else print false and break. Print nope. So when we get to the end, hang on. Finally, that would be, feels like a finally. Does finally work with? All right. I've only used finally like a handful of times, so let's do help. Finally. All right. Return, break, and continue statements execute. So basically, I thought finally also worked with tutorial help. Yeah, finally try state. So it's just try statements. I thought it was whiles. I thought it was any loop. That's why we have to look up documentation. And this is why you don't have to remember everything. This is never memorize anything. Programming is never memorization. It's a feeling. It's yeah, there's no other way. It's a feeling of something. You want to feel it. You want to go through it. Dictionary problem. This being a dictionary problem. Yeah. But let's get out all the. Yes, I like that. Correct. I want to get all the wrong out. So I want to show. I want us to get there. Just like our doc problem. I want to remove. So I want to show why this is wrong. Because you're going to learn a lot more. So we say dictionary. People are going to go, oh, okay. So is this a dictionary problem? So, yeah. Okay, finally clause. Here we go. Finally. If finally is present. Specifies cleanup handler. The try clause. See, I could have sworn. All right. So what I want to do is I want to show that I'm checking here along and LF. Because if I'm checking here, we're going to do a temporary variable. So I got to do the opposite. I know this can seem like it might be a little confusing because as we're going through here and we're testing here if it was in, we're going to have an order of operation problem. Where, see, and also with the dictionary, we're going to have an index problem. So if we look here, ACE is, and they gave us a hint, AEC. We need to check character by character, or we want to compare the string inside another. One, we want to see if Okay, sorry. I'm trying to see what you're meaning by that. But here's a not just present, but present and in order. So ace is here because it's A, C, E. Here, this is false because it's AEC. They're not in order. They're both. So if it's what I wanted to do is I wanted to show that it would pass this ABC test. It would fail this AXC test, but it would pass and give a false positive for an AEC test. That's what I'm wanting to show right here. So I want to build this, and then we'll end up with a dictionary, but we're also going to then have to take into account indexing. I mean, the string is a word, but a character C is just a character. Correct, but we don't care. We don't care. What do I want? What do I want to say? See, because also it can be none. And they gave us this edge case right here. So basically S could be an empty string. So it has to be, could it be in order? So a subsequence of a string is a new string that is formed from the original string by deleting some or none. So it'd be full. Okay, so it'd be the opposite. So it'd be full. So I want you to look at this. So if we delete the H, the G, and the D, we get ABC. If I delete the H, the B, the G, and the D, I do not get anything. I get false. So it's by the removal of, so that actually may be the hint. So I want to show so one, we have to devise an algorithm to make this decision. And the way that I'm thinking of it is the solution feels so same every time in both scenarios. The solution feels so same every time in both scenarios. Peaky, say that a different way. I'm sorry. I'm not understanding. So you're saying the way that I'm saying it, each time I'm saying it, it just still feels the same? So, all right. And that's the trick for these is we have to come up with one working human decision. Like how are my eyes and brain coming up with this, that this would return true? How did and make sure you're going really slow to make sure, because our brain goes, yes. Well, is what I'm about to say matched? Does it match my brain of how I decided? That's the real trick. And if you can do that, then you can write it in a programming language. So, all right. I mean, like, ABC. I'm talking about these. Okay. I get that. I think I get what you're saying there, but we've got to figure out an algorithm that decides this. So, all right. How long have we been on here? And we got folks dropping. So I may speed this along because we're already at an hour and a half. And it's already 9:30 here. So, all right. Oh, man, I didn't do that either. Too late, too bad, so sad. Well, I'll deal with that later. All right. So they could be 100 104. Interesting. Two separate problems? Well, yeah. But, alright. I said we weren't going to do this the wrong way. Or I said we were going to do it the wrong way. I don't think we have time because we need to get started on this. No worries. That's what and you have to watch out for that. Everybody does. I do. Over engineering. If you feel like, because the opposite of the sink is a Rube Goldberg machine. Yep, and then the opposite of the sink of this is a Rube Goldberg device, a machine. It's a overly complicated device to do a simple task. So it's like, I need this lever to be turned, but I'm going to have 72 steps before it to get this lever to turn. So that's the delicate dance you have when you're building something, engineering anything. So, all right. So am I going to I will ask this again, but like I know it's dinner time, so see you. But I will ask this again, but like now it's dinner time, so see you. But I will tell you. Okay. I hope I'm still here when you come back. All right. Where'd this fall under? Let's call this a 2-pointer. Subarray of ones after deleting one element. Oh, interesting. That's a cool sliding window one. We may need to do that later. All right. So this is 2-pointer. So I'm thinking, let's see. I'm thinking this starts here. All right. Interesting. So what I'm thinking is blank sub equals empty. So for I in range len, do I care about this? Do I care about this? Yes, I do. No, I don't. No, I don't. Range in T, index 0, for, let's just get this going. Got it. Good. Okay. If equals S index sub equals I index 1 else okay. Print sub equals S. True. All right. Now let's grab this one. Let's see. And we got a problem. Ah, there we go. Wait a minute. Did that really work? There we go. Sub is A, S is that, T is that. Now let's check ace. Let's check these two. Ace. True. All right, let's kind of walk through what I did. So this is a weird attack. So I'm coming through here. Let's flip this around. False. So what I'm doing is let's do this. Okay. I wanted to see B, E, true. All right, so let me walk you through what I did here. Is I'm checking here, I'm indexing to 0, and basically starting here, indexing 0, are they the same? And if they are the same, then I move my index over, and if this is here, the next one, then I just move to my next character. And if they are there, it basically, if it's in here, they have to be in this order. And if they are the same, then I move my index over to this, and then I continue down. So we're going to check and see if this works. We are going to need to tweak this a little bit, and then move over. And tab. Whoa. Oh yeah, this needs to be return. Return. All right. Let's run. See if this passes the first two tests, which it should. Oh, oopsie. There we are. Run. I'll bring this over. Oh. Don't have half my problem. So yeah. It's like, what are you doing? I can't compare any of this. Okay, passes. Let's see if this. Okay. And I love these edge cases. All right, so what is this? Is subsequence. Okay, what? Okay, so I do not have if the substring is none. So I'm not handling this yet. So I forgot one. This is why I love LeetCode, and I think this is why you should spend a lot of time on LeetCode, because this is going to throw up because this is out of range. So what should that return anyway? Let's go back. Runtime. So basically, if s greater than 0, do this. Let's see if that catches it. Lynn S. So would that be true or false? All right, so let's fix that. I don't know. That was test 2. If s len s greater than 0, then do this. Okay, run. And we're probably going to wrap here because we're bad. We're at an hour 44. Okay. Okay, what is S is out of range. So I didn't test 1 for 1. Okay. We don't have a test solution for a single. All right. While, so this is why it's 2-pointer. All right. Okay. Oh, break. Yeah. So basically, once I get to here and I'm at the end of my index and this is throwing up at bingo x0, I need to stop because I've already met my end. All right. So try accept break. Bingo. All right. So we got to 10. So here we are. Bingo. And look how, that's not right. Really? Eat up memory. That can't be right. Time complexity. That I don't think that's okay. That did not take 0 milliseconds because I'm hitting everything in here. So all right, but this works. So does everybody see what I did? How I'm going through here and solving this. All right. So we're at 1 hour and 48. Any questions about this? Where is there it is. So does everybody see how, and I just incrementally, so you're going to have edge cases. Don't try to, you're going to go bananas and you're going to make, if you were to try to do this all the way through, you're going to make this. All right. So come up with edge cases, get it to work 95% of the time. Then come and throw this. So why am I breaking here? So, all right. So let's go back to the original premise of I'm iterating through here. So then I'm starting at my first index at B. So index is 0 and my sub. So if these match, so I'm sitting here and I'm constantly looking, I'm going through, and I'm like, ooh, here's a character, here's a substring inside of here. So then let's come up here and use this one. Here, and let's print sub as we go. Comment this out. And I can only do this because I've done this 1,000 times. All right. Okay. So now I run this. So A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, C, true. All right. So what am I doing? I'm starting here. So I wrote this and this, and then I threw up because this was short. So then I added this piece. Then it threw up later, so I added this piece. But the bulk of this is happening because I'm iterating through T. So I'm starting here at A. And then I'm looking at index 0 of S. And I'm only going to move over an index of S if the character in T is the same. All right. And if they're not, I'm just going to go to the next character. And then I'm going to go to the next character. So if they are the same, I'm going to increment sub, my temporary sub variable, by the character in T. And then I'm going to move over my index. So in this example, we got A. And then when the next character is H. And I've also, and actually, how about we change over, yep, index. So we can now see this. So index 1, index 1, index 2, index 2, index 2, index 3. So we can go back and take a peek at this. So I'm starting out at index 0. And every time I hit a character, I moved over an index in.
This is a reminder. Run to Publix.
Okay.
This is a reminder. Run to Publix.
All right. Let's see how the lighting is, because I need to do some other videos. That's not bad. Okay. I actually think that looks pretty all right. Baldy, bald. Okay, but not too bad. And if I sit here, that's fantastic. And then after that light goes over, I'm going to open up that window. What does that look like? Let's just do. Okay. That's not too shabby. Oh, whoa. That got green over there? Okay, let's close this. Interesting. That was more light, and because I thought that's, well, doesn't matter. All right, so let's go back here. So we can get this and go BC, but I still have a B and a C there. So run again, still true, but my index is staying at 0 because my first time through it's 0 because I didn't have a letter, and my sub is empty string. Then H, still 0, haven't moved over, so I'm still checking each of these characters to there, and when I get to B, bingo, I go from index 0 to index 1. So now, hey, I got this, and this. Cool. Now since I'm here, and I'm going to index over, and I'm just iterating through T. Now I'm going to come G, and G is going to be looking at this because it's index 1. But nothing is happening, so I'm just continuously printing out sub, which is B, and looking each of these backwards. Is GC? Nope. Is DC? Nope. Is CC? Yep. Then I moved it over. There's my temporary variable, and then I get done, and I'm going to compare then sub, which we created, and S, are they the same? Bingo. That's it. And that's how I went about doing that. So any questions before we wrap up for today? I hope Peaky gets to come back and see how we solve this. But I wrote this and this and this. Then we had a fail on our second example with a substring of 0. So if it's 0, there isn't anything going to match at all. So I need to do an if. If not, just go. And then I did it, and then we saw where it was just one character. And then we go out of range. So then I go, okay, so if I'm indexed out of range, I'm going to have a try. Then I realize there's no point in iterating through if we're already out of range. So if it's out of range, can't do anything, it won't throw up, then do an except block and break, because we can just stop because there's no reason to check because we're already out of range. So between this incremental development solving 95% of the problem, then the edge cases started showing up and took care of a huge edge case here, and then an edge case which we would have thought about, we could have done it, but do not try to solve the last 5% first, because you will end up with this, and you'll go bananas when something breaks. Start with this and go from there. Look like it almost got it to highlight. Okay. All right. Any questions before we drop? Because I think this is a great place to start, and we are at a pretty good time for me, and I can get going and start doing some other stuff. All right. Thanks for coming to hang out today. Excuse me. I needed this today to get back into a groove. I can hang out for a couple more minutes, and then please don't hesitate to ask a question, because I know you probably have one. And no, Peaky's already at. That's an old one from Peaky. Somebody else probably has that question, so I can sit here for another minute and just please ask. I know we got a couple folks watching right now, and I know you probably have a question. Let's see if this time feature fixed itself. Nope, there's no way. That's right. There's no way. All right. 48%. Interesting. And I think this is just an easy. That's the only thing that drives me nuts about LeetCode is I think the inconsistencies of easy and medium. The edge cases are the absolute best. I cannot say that enough. The edge cases are phenomenal here with hey Dax, how are you? Yeah, all is well. Just keeping swimming, just trying to keep moving. Been a little down and frustrated with job rejections, but I knew I had to get back on the horse. So I thought a good live stream today would get things back going. And hope you're doing well. Hope you're getting ready for the holidays. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. Hope everybody's happy and healthy and safe. But I think we're going to wrap up for today. We knocked out a pretty good question. We chatted a lot today. But I think we covered a lot of material. So if there are no questions, we will wrap up for today, and we will come back hopefully tomorrow. Excuse me. Oh. And have some more good real conversations. Hopefully help some people with some other stuff and some real problems, and we'll go from there. So all right, we've got some people jumping on now. I can hang out for 2 more minutes. Any pressing questions that anybody wants to know, ask, curious about, worried about, anything like that, I can hang out, because we'll be right at about 2 hours and another minute or so. So I can look at some stuff. Let me look at something right now that I'm kind of waiting to see on. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. Sorry, looking at something. Phil, the automation. I love Phil, the career advisor. It's their AI. They write and have Phil do jokes every once in a while. All right. So no questions. Thanks for everyone coming to hang out today. I really appreciate that. It was a good day for me. I hope everyone got something out of this. Hope you learned something. Hope I help answer some questions. But it's okay to get down. It's okay to get frustrated. It's not okay to stay there. That's probably the underlying lesson for today. Things don't go the way we want them to. That's life. Life be lifing. Make what you can of what you have. Play the cards you're dealt. And kind of like what we talked about. Try to find the good or the positive in. I appreciate it, Dax. Try to find the good or the positive in whatever you're working on, and also in others. Because if you're just going to walk around and try to find out and see things that are all wrong or bad about things, that's easy. That's lazy. It's non-productive. And you're not expanding on your problem-solving skills. You're not learning anything. You're actually going in reverse. So make sure you're always trying to find a solution to something. Go, what is the real problem here? So that's a great question to ask. Like, why? What's the real problem? What's the problem I'm trying to solve? I'll throw out this last story. So it's an American football story. There's a very famous college football coach who just retired. His name's Nick Saban. And reporter asked him, and reporters are always just trying to make a story, the ones who are lazy, instead of looking at all the evidence in front of them. So one of the questions was, is this college football playoff going to solve the problem? And Nick Saban about lost his mind. He goes, what problem are we trying to solve? No. He goes, what problem are we trying to solve? You tell me what the problem is, and you tell me how this is going to solve it. So basically, this is going to solve all the problems. Well, that's where you get into unintended consequences, and you're going to get results that you're not expecting because you're trying to solve a problem, just like right here. So we're trying to solve a problem, and we had unintended consequences, and I was out of range. So then I had to put this in, and then I was like, okay, and then I was out of range, so then I needed to have a try. So these are these things that you need to make sure that you're solving the real problem, or you end up over here. This convoluted, ugly, messy thing, and you have a problem. So you're trying to solve a problem, and you end up making a new problem. Then that breaks. Then this breaks. And this breaks. Let me do this last one. Space X 3-gen rockets. No, 3-gen rockets. I love this image. Let me see if I can. Yeah. This tells a story. If you don't get this, I can't help you. I want you to look at this. Look at this iteration of this and how SpaceX has just gone from one rocket to another. Boom. I mean, look at this. All these things now to this very simple and clean design. Don't get stuck here. Go, can we refine it? Can we remove waste? Now, it's also a delicate dance of, does this work? So then also, it's your sink meme. So is it working? Don't touch it. Yes, is it working? Don't touch it. But we thought we needed. Hang on, is that not draw? Yeah, let me go back. Oops. Why is that not erasing? All right, doesn't matter. So do we need this right here? Well, we really don't, because look, it's gone. That was completely unintentional that I solved that. And then we just have all these other things that we built that we don't need, and it just got better. It got better, and it just got better. So you want to have iteration. I'm obsessed with iteration and improvement. Process improvement, I guess I didn't even know how much was in my blood. But yeah, can we make things better? Can we make things cleaner? Can we be more efficient? So all right. Okay. I went way over, but thank you everybody for coming today. Yeah, I'm at 2 hours, 5 minutes. All right, I got to go. Thank you everybody for being here, and I will see everyone tomorrow if everything works out. And I hope everyone has a good rest of their day.